What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 3 of NeoVintage News. Now, for you guys that have never seen this show before, basically we go over the biggest stories in gaming, and I give you guys detailed, small little breakdowns and my little opinion, and then we move on from there, and we have a different segment that comes on after where I give a game recommendation of the week. So the first story that we're going to go over this week is a little bit self-serving because I'm going to be talking about some of the differences that are going to be happening on the channel. So basically, I'm going to be introducing a new podcast and a new video series. Now, as you can see, the channel is a bit on a transitionary period right now. The content's changing. I'm going into more analytical content. We've introduced NeoVintage News in place of the podcast while that's on hiatus. And so that's definitely going to be continuing along with the Video Games Monthly unboxing and possibly any reviews as games come out, along with event discussions like the PS5 video we just did, which again, I will say, go check that out. I'm going to have that link down below so you can get more of a detailed breakdown. We did a whole podcast dedicated to that. However, I wanted to introduce a new podcast solely dedicated to a big passion of mine, which is highlighting Black creators in the industry. And so a dedicated podcast called Players Unified is going to be coming out. I don't have a timetable necessarily yet because I'm still working out, because this is going to be more of a guest-based podcast. There will be a pilot with just me having some preliminary discussions, and depending on the quality of that podcast, maybe I'll be sure to put it up, maybe not. I don't know. It's entirely dependent on how that podcast comes out. Again, pilot episode, you like to practice, you like to give it a shot, and then you put it up. And then that will kind of go hand in hand with a video series. Now, the podcast will be dedicated to discourse and discussions with the people of color in the industry and how it is to be in the industry, how they come up, just that entire discussion. So like people of color who would like to break into the industry kind of have like something to build upon, something to be inspired by, and also at the same time they could highlight their work so we know what to support. The video series will take about 5 creators of video, because again, it's going to be a long series. I'm planning out multiple videos, reaching out to people, seeing who wants to participate, and I'm going to be highlighting them, where they work, and the different games that they're associated with. So again, those are pieces of work that we can support. So keep an eye out for that if that's something that interests you, and that'll be sure to be coming out on this channel. And perhaps at some time I might have a dedicated channel for just that content if that's something you want to watch, but you're not necessarily into the rest of the gaming content we have here. I'll be sure to launch that content and you can go there. So the next story we're going to get into is kind of an update from last week's story about the HIO bundle. So I just wanted to give an update regarding that HIO bundle for racial justice and equality. As of right now, and this is data that I compiled yesterday, so the numbers are probably up here. This bundle includes 1,658 games from 1,322 creators, and the bundle is still just $5, which is insane. So as of when I looked, over 6.1 million has been raised, and that's well past that $5 million goal that they had. There has been 587,342 unique contributors as of the time that I was reading that. So be sure to go pick this up. This is an amazing bundle, something we've pretty much never seen the likes of before. Well over $9,000 in terms of value for $5, and it's for an amazing cause, something that we definitely need to put our money towards. So I just wanted to give this a last minute heads up, because again, this bundle is going to be ending soon. It's in a day or two that it's all up. So if you haven't gotten this bundle yet, you're tripping. Be sure to get on that, because again, this is a perfect thing. They've raised so much money for such a fantastic cause, and I mean, talk about bang for your buck and a deal for the gamer. It doesn't get better than that. So the third story we can go over is the IGN Summer of Gaming. So IGN Summer of Gaming event is in full swing, along with a ton of announcements. Now, there's entire breakdowns on IGN that I recommend you go check out if you want to see every single announcement. It's a series of full announcements, first reveals, updated release dates. There's the type of information that they've dropped on there is of varying quality. Some days it's like bigger games, some days it's a little bit smaller, but there was some, highlights in certain days. So day 1 had some announcements like new games like Metal Hellsinger, which is, it seems like an awesome kind of like Doom-like music-based game. So it's a first-person shooter, it's fast, it's kinetic, but at the same time it syncs up with the soundtrack in a really, really dope way. So it's very, very Doom-like, but I'm actually really liking what I'm seeing there. We have Alex Kidd in the Miracle World DX, so for anybody who's a Sega fan, be sure to keep an eye out for that. It's kind of a complete remake of that classic game, so I'm really excited to check that out. And then day 2 had games like Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2, Grand Prix, amongst a whole bunch more. And then there's since then also been a day 3. So keep an eye out for that. IGN Summer of Gaming, they have a lot of cool things here. And this is not to be mistaken with what Jeff Keighley's doing right there. That's an entirely different event. So be sure to keep your eye out on all these events, because in E3's absence, a lot of different events have kind of come to swoop in and dominate the news cycle. So there's a lot being announced. So speaking of a lot of big announcements, we have the PS5 event. So Sony finally unveiled the PS5 and some games that are coming to the console. To get a detailed breakdown, go watch the dedicated video that we have on it. Again, that's linked down below. And we go game by game and then talk about the console itself, all with timestamps. It's only been up for a little bit, doesn't have a lot of views, so a lot of people haven't seen it yet. So go check out that video. But some of the big announcements were first Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Now it's important to kind of note the scale of this. There's been a lot of conversation about, like, is this DLC for the first game? Is this a full sequel? And from what they've seemed to communicate about this is a standalone title, similar and akin to the Lost Legacy series, or a game to the Uncharted. So it's not a full sequel. It might be like a $40 title or something like that, but it's standalone, it's full featured and stuff like that. So it's not a full sequel, but it's also not DLC, so that's important to note. We have Gran Turismo 7, we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and then we have Horizon Forbidden West, amongst many more. And I could run down a quick list of all the different games. So we have a GTA 5 update and port, Spider-Man, Gran Turismo, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Project Athia, Stray, Returnal, Sackboy Big Adventure, Destruction All-Stars, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Goodbye Volcano High, Oddworld, Soulstorm, Ghostwire Tokyo, Jet the Far Shore, Godfall, Solar Ash, Hitman 3, Astro's Playroom, Little Devil Inside. We have NBA 2K21, Bugsnax, Demon Souls by Bluepoint, Deathloop, Resident Evil 8 Village, Pragmata, Horizon Forbidden West, and then they had the actual unveiling of the console itself. So talk about an absolute packed event. They knocked it out of the park with this one. So I strongly suggest you go check out our podcast for that, because I am super, super high on this event, and I feel like the future for the PS5 is super bright. So we can move on to the next story at this point. Star Wars Squadrons confirmed after leaking on the Xbox site. So we finally have formal confirmation from EA that a new Star Wars game called Star Wars Squadrons is coming, and a full reveal will be taking place Monday, June 15th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So that's actually tomorrow from when I'm filming this. So you guys, when you watch this might be out already, and you might have a lot more information than I do currently. Squadrons will focus on aerial space combat, given that both like Rebel and TIE Fighter pilots are featured on prominently in the leaked artwork that I have right here. This may be the rumored Project Maverick leak that we saw earlier this year, so this is definitely in the Rogue Squadron type gameplay style and less in the Battlefront. However, though, Battlefront does obviously have that kind of space combat that I'm including footage for in here, so you can kind of get a semblance of what EA's been doing in terms of some of their newer Star Wars titles if you're not playing them. The Battlefront, games have not had the best reception, and they haven't been the biggest featured. So I'm hoping that with Fallen Order and maybe this game, it could be kind of a resurgence of Star Wars games, but again, that remains to be seen. So the second to last story we can go into is Persona 4 on PC. So this is a pretty big deal. Developer slash publisher Atlas officially launched the PC version of Persona 4 Golden. Leaks surfaced on Steam's database earlier in the week, but now it's official. The Steam page for Persona 4 Golden is live right now. I checked the price, it's $20, but there are some sales that you can play with online to get it for $15. So great price for it, phenomenal game. And this is an important game. Obviously, it launched on PS2, then a full featured version called Persona 4 Golden was released on the Vita. And up until a week or so ago, or actually a couple days ago, this was like the seminal game that the Vita had to play on it. And again, I'm a massive Vita fan. I got a little stack of Vita games there. I love that console. And so this was always the one thing that the Vita had. Without a doubt, we got Persona 4. And now that's on Steam. So officially, I guess, RIP the Vita. But yeah, I'm just so excited about this, because finally a whole new player pool of people who could not play it before, because again, the Vita didn't sell astronomical units, only I think cleared somewhere between 10 and 15 million. So there's been a lot of people who have not played this game but have played Persona 5, maybe gone back and played Persona 3. So finally being able to have this in a widespread way, in a very easily accessible way, I think is a fantastic thing to kind of bring that heritage of the Persona franchise to the forefront. So I think that's fantastic, and I hope, I'm not sure if all the rest are on Steam, but if they're not, I hope they bring those over as well. So I guess we can get into the last story, and it's finally more details on the Mafia Definitive Edition have been released. So the PC Gaming Show was held this past Saturday, June 13th, and more details were released about the upcoming game Mafia Definitive Edition. Now this will be top to bottom remake of the original 2002 game on PS2. There will be brand new assets, gameplay mechanics, and cinematic shots. However, the cutscene dialogue and there will be new cutscene dialogue, but the story itself and the writing of it is remaining intact. So they're not restructuring the story, working in new story beats, or changing with the pacing or anything like that. That remains intact, and everything else is getting rehauled. So that's important to note. Mafia Definitive Edition launches on August 28th for both PC, PS4, and Xbox One. So everybody, for the most part, with exception for Switch, gets access to this game. And then obviously the moment this is out, the entire Mafia trilogy will be available on current gen consoles. So I just wanted to note this. Mafia 1, phenomenal game. But again, it was kind of locked on the PS2, gone for a while. And so having this, readily available for us is just a fantastic thing. I believe it's on PS2. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't a PS3 game, so I'm pretty sure it's a PS2 game. But yeah, coming out in 2002. But yeah, man, fantastic game. Had it as a youth, and I really enjoyed it. From a narrative perspective, my favorite Mafia game, actually. In terms of just like playing, Mafia 2. Yeah, I like the gameplay loop of Mafia 2 a lot better. But the story of 1, you cannot beat it. They had some big names on the writing staff there. So to see this be able to get that kind of, A1 treatment, that AAA look, and I saw some of that footage, and it looks phenomenal. It looks like a brand new game. And I mean, the lighting is right on par there with the Mafia 3 Definitive Edition. So I'm really excited about that. So I guess we can move on to the last segment that we have on the show, which is the game recommendation of the week. Now, I'm working on a review for a game that was very graciously provided to me from a specific team that I'm not going to disclose just yet, because I want to have that full package ready for you guys, and I'm still working on getting through that game. So I kind of swapped something out of another game that I've kind of been dabbling on. It finally went on sale, and it's something that I've been wanting to play for a long time, and it's River City Girls. Now, this game is phenomenal. And again, I don't have to speak its praises too much because reviews have been out for a while. People have been playing it for a minute. So you guys are well aware of this game, I'm sure. But I'm going to include some footage right here so you guys can get kind of a look for it. And basically what it is just a side-scrolling beat 'em up. There's a little bit of more of an exploratory edge to it. You can backtrack to different rooms and have access to different places and find collectibles. The pixel art in it is absolute gorgeous. There's kind of hand-drawn looking anime-esque cutscenes that look phenomenal. High resolution textures, everything looks phenomenal in this game. Amazing soundtrack, great character design, everything pretty much top to bottom is fantastic. And especially with Streets of Rage 4 just coming out, I was kind of in a mood to play another beat 'em up, and I didn't really feel like going too far in the back, and I was like, you know what, I haven't played River City Girls. Finally rechecked it on Switch, and they had it for 20 bucks, I believe, when its normal retail price is actually at 30. So hey, $10 down, no complaints here. So I picked it up, and I'm having a fantastic time with it. I'm not super far in it. I just got it out of the school system, and I finished my first big boss battle. So I'm pretty early in the game, but I'm excited to work my way through it and kind of see what kind of quirky edge they have. There's an amazing sense of humor in this game. So if you haven't checked this game out and you're in any way a fan of like 16-bit art or beat 'em ups or indie games on like Switch and Steam and stuff like that, this game I think is definitely going to be for you. Way forward, absolutely knocked it out of the park with this one. So this is the episode 3 of NeoVintage News. I'm going to have an episode of this out every single week for you guys, so you guys can have like a nice story breakdown. But again, I'm sure there will be an episode of NeoVintage podcast somewhere within the week at some point that can also give you guys more detailed discussions of some of these very stories themselves. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends if they in any way are into video game news, and see you guys next week. Bye.